Hi all, today I will talk about the film, In the House. The guy fell in love with his best friend's mom, but is a woman ready to leave her family for him?
Dans une robe qui laissait entrevoir son corps de femme de la classe moyenne.
During a staff meeting, the school principal announces a new law. According to the new rules, all students must wear the same school uniform. All teachers support this innovation, but only the French teacher does not like this rule. Monsieur Germain comes home and begins to check the essays that were written by his students from the 8th grade. The teacher's wife comes home. Ginny asks her husband what he does. He says that he had never read such bad essays in his life before that moment. He calls his students barbarians who are unable to think even a little. Ginny says she hears this every year. For example, a man reads several essays aloud.
Samedi, j'ai mangé une pizza et regardé la télé.
He says that he went to work as a teacher to help his students fall in love with literature, but instead he got teenagers who are not able to think without the internet. But soon, he comes across an essay that contains more than 2 sentences. Claude wrote 2 whole pages about how he spent his weekend. The man begins to read aloud. Claude says that he has been watching one house for a long time. He often comes to the bench and looks at this house from the outside. Claude set himself the goal of getting into this house and finding out how the people live in it. His classmate Raphael lives in this house. On Friday, Raphael failed his math exam, and Claude decided to offer him his help. And already on Saturday, Raphael invites Claude to his home to study mathematics together. Claude brought some math problems for Raphael to distract his attention. Claude offers to drink cola and leaves the room. Finally, he found himself in the house he dreamed of going to. He imagined it a little differently in his head. At some point, the guy smelled inexpensive perfume. He saw a middle-aged woman in the living room and began to look at her intently. The woman noticed him and decided to take the guy to the kitchen. She thought that he was lost. The woman tells the boy that he can make himself at home and returns to the living room. Claude returned to Raphael's room and began to help him solve mathematical problems.
À suivre.
The teacher immediately notices this guy's talent. The next day after class, the teacher asks Claude to stay for a while. The teacher says that it is not ethical to write an essay about your classmate's family. The teacher says that if anyone read this essay, Claude would have big problems. But the guy doesn't see anything wrong with what he's doing and gives the teacher the second part of his essay. Claude leaves school and meets Rafa. The guy thinks about why it was Raphael who attracted his attention and not anyone else. Because Raphael is an ordinary guy with a normal family. Claude was interested in staying in their house and learning about how an ordinary normal family lives. Monsieur Germain comes to the exhibition to see his wife. She says that her exhibition may soon be closed and she will be left without work. Monsieur Germain says that Claude wrote a new part of the essay and the woman asks to read it quickly. Claude came to visit his classmate again. Raphael's mother measured the window with a tape measure and Claude watched her closely. The woman came down from the stepladder and greeted the boys. She offered them a snack, after which the woman returned to the stepladder. The curves of her body were visible through her dress, and Claude continued to watch it with pleasure.
À suivre.
The woman finds it strange that a 16-year-old teenager dreams of his classmate's mother. She advises her husband to tell the director about everything, but Germain is sure that the boy poses no danger. He considers Claude a rebel who is trying to make a name for himself. Monsieur Germain decides to help the boy become a writer because he definitely has talent. The next day, the teacher meets Claude at recess and gives him his book so that the guy can gain experience. Claude gives the professor the next part of his work. Returning to the home of his friend's ordinary family, he again felt part of their life. Suddenly, Raphael's father, whose name is also Raphael, enters the room. He reminds his son that today they will watch a basketball game and eat pizza. The man invites Claude to stay and watch the game with them. Claude happily agrees because this is a great opportunity to learn more about this family. During the match, Raphael Sr. gets a call from his boss from work and asks him to come right away. The man gets dressed and leaves. Monsieur Germain does not like the way Raphael wrote this part of the story. He lists several literary genres, but none of the genres are suitable for Claude's writing. He asks to add more details and focus on the characters in his story. The teacher also asks not to judge the characters because the writer should be able to describe them in different ways. Claude doesn't really like the teacher giving him advice, but he likes the teacher reading it. Claude decided to listen to his teacher and changed his story. This time he paid more attention to the interior, details, and main characters. Aster sits down on the sofa and begins to draw in his notebook. A woman dreams of building her own country house, and Claude is attracted by her desire. Raphael's father works in a company that cooperates with the Chinese. The man hates them. During the call, Raphael's mother approaches her husband and tries to eavesdrop on the conversation. A man leaves for work and a woman sits on the sofa with the guys and watches a basketball match. The teacher likes the new version of the story better. He praises his student and gives him a few more books. After work, Monsieur Germain comes to his wife's gallery. She shows him several new projects. This is her last chance to save her gallery. The man brought with him a new part of the story, and the woman interrupts everything she was doing to listen. Claude came to visit his friend again. He gives Raphael a very difficult math problem and leaves the room. He wants to get a better look at the house. Claude goes downstairs and sees a married couple. Raphael tells his wife that he no longer wants to obey his boss and invites his wife to work together on a new business. A woman wants to work as a designer, but the man says that his business is more important. Aster tells her husband that she doesn't like that their son is bringing a friend home. She thinks that Claude is strange and wants to forbid Raphael from bringing him home. Monsieur Germain is sure that Claude is making up what he writes about. The next day, the teacher tries to explain that Claude's story has reached a dead end. It should add more challenges for the characters. Claude really likes this idea, but soon he will not be able to visit Raphael. There will be a math exam soon, and Raphael won't be able to pass it. Claude asks the teacher to steal the answers and give them to him, so Raphael can pass the exam. The teacher says that he cannot do this, but Claude gave an ultimatum. If Germain does not help him, then Claude will no longer write the book. Monsieur Germain cannot allow this. After class, he steals the answers for the exam and gives them to Claude. Raphael gets the highest score. The parents are very happy and thank Claude for his help. Raphael and his father invite Claude to play basketball together on Saturday, but Claude refuses. Claude notices that Raphael was upset when he heard such an answer, which means that Claude has become his best friend. Raphael guesses that Monsieur Germain gave the correct answers to Claude. Raphael warns his friend and says that Monsieur Germain is very strange, like his wife.
Est-ce que tu peux m'expliquer ce qu'on vient faire dans cette histoire?
Saturday is coming. Claude waits until father and son leave the house and rings the doorbell. Aster meets the guy and asks why he came. Claude says he forgot his math book. Aster lets him into the house, and Claude can finally be alone with her. Aster has already changed her mind about Claude. She invites him to drink cola. During the conversation, Claude reveals that he does not have a mother. Claude's plan worked. This story made Aster want to protect the boy. A woman talks about her dream of becoming a designer and architect. Claude continued to listen. The woman was glad to finally speak out. Claude thought only that he wanted to be alone with her more often. Jean considers Claude's behavior abnormal, but Germain is sure that the guy is making everything up and everything he writes about is not true. The next time Claude comes to visit Raphael, he asks him a difficult math problem. Claude goes to the bedroom and looks at Aster's things, but the husband and wife unexpectedly come home, and Claude overhears their conversation. The man is having problems at work again. Claude tells the teacher about his idea. His entire story should take place only in the house. His character's goal is to make Aster fall in love with him, despite all the difficulties. But Monsieur Germain says that Claude forgot about the other characters in his story. He should spend more time on them. Claude took the advice and went to basketball with Raphael and his father. It turns out that Claude plays basketball well, and Raphael's father likes it. The man already considers Claude part of their family. Monsieur Germain calls Raphael to the board. The guy must read his essay about his best friend. Raphael says that Claude is his best friend. The students laugh at the guy, and Raphael feels humiliated. He tells Claude that he wants to punch the teacher's face, but Claude suggests publicly accusing the teacher and writing about it in the school newspaper. Monsieur Germain apologizes to the guy, realizing that the boy was upset. But Claude cannot be stopped. He himself writes the article on behalf of Raphael. Because of this, the teacher receives a reprimand from the principal. And even the guy's father comes and threatens the teacher. Claude once again comes to visit Raphael. Friends stay up late, and Claude stays overnight at their house. For Claude, This is a very important moment that he has been waiting for a long time. Raphael gives his friend his t-shirt and unexpectedly kisses him. Claude doesn't react to this because his main target is in the bedroom. He spies on Aster and Raphael sleeping. He imagines how a couple of hours ago the couple was testing the bed. He is sure that Aster has not enjoyed married life for a long time. Jana reads this and doesn't understand why her husband is helping her guy write about this. But the professor says it's normal for a teenager to think about such things. Jana says that her exhibition is being closed and she will soon be left without work. Monsieur Germain, when meeting with a student, criticizes his story. According to the teacher, Claude stopped developing the main plot. Claude comes into the house again. He notices that Aster and Raphael are quarreling. She suspects her husband of cheating. Claude approaches the woman and gives her his poems. At the next meeting, Aster thanks the guy for what he did for her, and Claude kisses the woman. Raphael watched everything that happened. Afterwards, Claude enters Raphael's room and sees a terrible picture. Monsieur Germain comes to school and realizes that Raphael has not come. He worries that everything Claude writes is true. But it turns out that Raphael was just sick. The teacher asks Claude to stop writing about this family and leave them alone. But Claude doesn't understand why the professor says this. Claude really wanted to finish this story. He liked the way he and the teacher communicated, but Monsieur Germain became a traitor to him. The teacher finds a new part of the story in the trash, and after reading it, learns that Aster is pregnant. Her husband burned the boss's car, and Raphael asked to find a new tutor for him, because Claude is no longer allowed to appear in their house. Monsieur Germain goes outside and finds Claude beaten. He was beaten by Raphael. This is how the teacher finds out that Claude almost didn't invent what he wrote about in his story. Monsieur Germain asks Claude to finish the story and write the ending, but Claude is too upset because he won't be able to see Aster anymore. He really fell in love with a woman. Claude comes to Aster's house again and meets with her. He offers to leave the city together because there is nothing keeping her here. He tells her that he wants to save her from life in this family. But Aster says that she cannot go with him. She cannot leave her family, and soon they will go to live in China. Claude kisses the woman again, and she leaves. Claude realizes that Aster was not his main target. He decided to write the ending of the story. To do this, he comes to his teacher's apartment and meets his wife. Jana allows the guy to enter. The boy returns the books that the teacher gave him. In fact, from the very beginning, Claude dreamed of going to his teacher's house and finding out how he lives. And of course, he wanted to see his wife. Jana gives the guy a book that her husband wrote. She says that Claude and Germain are very similar. Meanwhile, Raphael tells the school principal that Monsieur Germain helped him pass his math test. Germain is fired from school. He returns home and finds the final chapter of the story, in which he reads about how Claude looked at his sleeping wife. Germain thinks that his wife cheated on him and attacks her. Jana hits her husband on the head and leaves home forever. Germain lost his wife and his job. Soon, he meets Claude. They look at the house in front of them and talk about what the people who live there are doing. Claude says that he wants to continue writing stories, but to do this, he must end up in the house of strangers. Germain says it won't be as easy as last time, but Claude does not despair and says that together they will be able to write a new story. And this is where the film ends. Write your opinion about this in the comments. Like the video and click on the bell to be the first to watch new videos.